Old Government House and the adjoining campus of the university may be considered to occupy the prime heritage site of Auckland.
It's quite an unusual house. There is a glib description that it's Palladian, but it's nothing to do with Palladio. Palladio laid down very strict rules for the design of his country houses, and this no way conforms to those.
In the years that Auckland was the capital of New Zealand between 1840 and 1865, Government House was the locus of power and was the focus of high social activity. Auckland's premier historical architect and also biographer of William Mason describes it as Neo-Georgian, which is as close as we can come to it. It was a mixture, a melange of styles.
Inside, it is very specifically designed as a governor's house. It makes an excellent suite of rooms for formal entertainment.
The distinctive feature of it is the construction in wood in such a way that the eye was deceived into believing that the house was built of stone. There were, in fact, two old government houses. There was the first that was put up in 1841, and then came the tragedy of the fire in 1848.
Wynyard, who was acting governor, he wanted to get on and build this house because Grey had done nothing about building the house, rebuilding it after the fire. Grey, of course, is the one outstanding governor. He learnt Maori, he collected ethnographic stuff, he's an anthropologist. He was all things to all men as long as he was out front leading, but you couldn't trust him.
It's rather interesting that once the fire had demolished the building, Maori who were constructing the stone wall came to the governor, Kawanaka, and said, "We will build a stone house for you." Grey deferred. He had decided on another course. And so we have an interregnum between 1848 and 1856 when the government house that we're in now went up.
The senior commoner had reported to the university that they wanted a consultant to carry out the long-term development for the restoration of Old Government House to a state compatible with its original state, and I was nominated as the actual architect to do the work. It was a matter of putting back the main facade the way it had been as far as possible. It's a good space and can be very useful, but I think it's excellent that the building is being used because it's not cheap to maintain.
I think it sort of sat empty for about a year as they decided what its best use was at the time. Thankfully, the club, the University Staff Common Room Club, needed a home, and they were ensconced here from about 1969. The university does bookings of planning days, training sessions, departmental briefings, all manner of things like that. We also host award ceremonies, department dinners. I think at last count, in the course of 12 months, I would have managed somewhere between 500 and 600 separate bookings. I think the university and the people that I've just mentioned who come here are extremely lucky. Because the alternative is, as you say, the museum, the red velvet rope kind of situation, which would still make it available and accessible to people, but not in that usable way.
It suits itself very well. to the university's uses.
On balance, we can regard it as a very satisfactory building.